patient, in essence, not complacent. Block the banquet, stop the computation. I'ma make the coda, fools just wanna make the quota. They can't rock around here, they need baking soda. This a hydra, no way they taking over. Lay them below the basement with snakes and cobras.
With injections and everything to make it heal, and in just like 1 hour of Pantera, I totally, like, I went back 7 or 8 months in my recovery. And I don't know why, but now my elbow is fucked. I probably did this. I don't know what the fuck I did.
Do that movement again, Matteo. Do that movement again, and when you do it, Jamie's gonna put it in slow motion. And I like how his name is Matteo Metalhead Sclera.
This is the Inkpulp podcast.
It's awesome. This is the way I like.
This is the high quality shit that we are.
Yeah, looked better earlier.
Jamie, just make me fade to black.
Holy crap. Is this the first time that you're taking this thing out for a spin? And by this thing, I mean your brand new computer with the setup and all that kind of stuff?
Totally. Today's the first day.
Also, is that the 5th set of glasses? Matteo, remember when I said like he's very involved in making sure that the way he looks is like he's representing himself? Look at this.
Oh,
he's got 50 pairs of glasses back there.
Yeah. Wait, what do you need them for in a studio? Like,
I know.
Are those like
hey, Shawn, if you take off your
Well,
glasses,
some people have old eyes and need help seeing.
If you take off those glasses, does that microphone just fucking disappear? Like, can you not see 2 feet, like 3 inches in front of you?
Whoa, say that again?
No,
if you take off your glasses right now, does the microphone disappear?
You know what it is, Eric? He thinks he looks good with those on.
Yeah.
Nobody has ever told him that it's horrible. You know what you look like?
Hey,
a guy who still has to give up. But he should.
I'm never giving up. Y'all are jealous of my prettiness.
But you should. Okay, so what's great about it is that Shawn is kind enough to bring us on to his podcast, and we just beat him like a horse.
Just trash.
And but the views are going up, so people are liking this thing.
They love it.
It turns out it's all people wanting.
The what do you call it? The missing ingredient. The missing ingredient to the Inkpulp podcast is verbal abuse to the host. You know?
Yeah, just abuse them.
We found it.
And now he's eating.
Just your punching bag, huh?
What the fuck are you eating?
On his show, he's eating. He's like, I can't eat before the show. I have to eat during the show.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Oh, by the way, Shawn, you're not exactly centered. I see you a little bit on the side.
Don't worry. Once the final video comes out, it'll center it.
Yep, that's perfect. Awesome.
That's good job. See, one of us, and clearly it's not me, because I was like, when you guys were saying, hey, let's up the production value, let's bring Jamie on, let's make everything as podcasty as possible. I was like, fuck you guys, I'm going back to sleep, you know? But one of us clearly cares about the quality of this quote unquote show, of this, I consider it a train wreck, but the show, and it's obviously Matteo, because he's like, Shawn, you're a little bit off. And now Shawn is frozen completely.
Yeah, that was the actual living proof of that thing. Like that was it. His camera is not even ready. We're already recording, and his camera is not ready. It's touching the camera. You can see his fucking, finger on the thing. So clearly,
I have not paid attention to any of you for the past 5 minutes. I just don't pay attention. I've been busy getting my setup.
It's the idea. That's the point that we've been trying to make, is that you're just all about the aesthetic of this thing, from the glasses to the composition to the ISO.
I'm going to say one thing.
Go.
You wanted to hit record before I did all this so that you could capture this so you two could slam me.
100%.
I see it now. I see the whole plan unfolding.
Well, yeah, but
it wasn't like we were hiding it, you know?
Yeah, that happened a few minutes ago. Once you knew that we were recording, just do something. Now he kept doing his thing, you know? Jesus Christ.
I got a new computer, fuckface.
Congratulations,
and I'm
pal.
Just setting everything up for the first time.
Brother.
Congratulations. I am so happy that your thing isn't shutting down.
Say that again, Matteo.
Are you actually now on your computer? That's what you're using now?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you.
Yeah, it's fucking... Thank you. Man, I'll tell you, having a fucked up computer just fucks your life up for a while.
Okay, let me air a bit of my feelings of guilt. That computer, you know, Shawn was saying, hey, my computer, before he got the one that kept crashing on him, that computer was actually mine. And I sent it to him and I said, Shawn, I'm effectively going to trade this thing in. Here, take this computer. It's been doing fine by me, right? And then it started crashing on him, right? And for a brief second, I felt really, really guilty. I was like, fudge, man,
But why?
Because it was from me to you, you know? It was like, oh, dude, I kind of sent him a lemon, which was working perfectly fine before I sent it to you, you know? But then I realized, oh no, that's by design, because right before I sent it to you, I poured a glass of orange juice inside the computer.
All right. So you didn't feel that bad.
Because I forgot. I'm old and I forget.
But once you remembered, you're
once I realized the troll, I was like, congratulations. That's exactly. I love it when a plan comes together. Speaking of old, Matteo and I were talking about something.
It was exactly going to be my segue to what I'm going to say.
Speaking of old, Matteo and I were talking about something offline, and he said he'll actually explain it on the podcast. So, Matty, go ahead. You're saying how old you were.
Well, first of all, I would say for the next 2 or 3 episodes, I promise I'm not gonna make fun of you two for being old as fuck, because.
Okay.
I'm because you know what you're about to say. We're going to weaponize the fuck out of it. So go ahead.
Come on, bring it. Oh, bring it. I want it.
So what happened? Okay. So what happened was that this past Sunday, I finally got to see Pantera live. I don't know if you
That's
know
so great
about that, but there's been a reunion, a Pantera reunion. Well, it's basically the only 2 living members, Phil Anselmo, the singer, and Rex, the bass player. They call another 2 guys, Zach Wilde, amazing guitar player, and Charlie Benante, amazing drummer, and they made a Pantera reunion, and they're touring. They're doing a world tour. And since I missed them back in the day, because I actually once bought a ticket to go and see them, but it was a concert that was supposed to be on October 2001. So 9/11 happened in between. So basically they canceled the date. And that was my only last chance to see them live, because after that they broke up, and then 2 of them died. So basically there was no Pantera anymore. So
in 9/11,
no,
in the building. No. Oh, right.
No,
that would have been weird. Okay, good.
I didn't get the question.
He was asking if the band was killed on 9/11. I said no.
No. They just canceled because the whole thing, they decided to cancel. That's it. So finally I got the chance to watch them live, despite the fact that, the metalhead purists, they don't accept the fact that they're touring with this new 2 members. But I decided to go. It was fucking amazing. And I was telling Eric that, a lot of times this happens to me. I lose track of what I should do and what I shouldn't do. And when Pantera started playing, I started jumping like a fucking asshole. And basically, at the end of the concert, like I would say the morning after, I woke up and my knee was fucking swollen as fuck. I'm working on this knee. I've been working on it for the last almost a year with injections and everything to make it heal. And in just like 1 hour of Pantera, I totally, I went back 7 or 8 months in my recovery. So my knee's swollen, and I don't know why, but now my elbow is fucked. I probably did this. I don't know what the fuck I did. And now my elbow is fucking, oh my God.
Wait, do that movement again, Matteo. Do that movement again, and when you do it, Jamie's going to put it in slow motion.
Ooh.
And like a crowd of people right below you in silhouette doing the same fucking thing.
So Matteo, did you limp out of the show?
No. Actually, after the show, it was fine. I didn't, it wasn't hurting. But the day after, I realized how much of a fucking asshole I am, and that's it. And now I'm trying. Hopefully, this week I'm just, keeping an eye on both my knee and my elbow and see if they, get better. My elbow is kind of feeling better. My knee's still swollen. We'll see how it goes.
Are you using ice?
No, I'm just not doing anything. I have a thing.
Why would you do that?
Why would you do that? I don't know how to say a sleeve for my knee.
Yeah,
so whenever I gotta
compression
use it,
sleeve. Yeah.
Yeah, I put a compression sleeve on it. But
dude, use some ice.
Whatever. But yeah, that's my situation now.
So how old are you? How old are you now, Matteo?
He's like 30,
41.
32.
35?
41. 25.
Are you 41?
60.
35, right? 60.
No, 41.
Okay. So 40. All right. Well, okay. Never mind then. But yeah, it's about time. Your knees can't handle a heavy metal show anymore. That's about time.
Jesus Christ.
And I like how his name is Matteo Metalhead Sclera.
I should have added old metalhead.
You are so metal. You are so metal with your compression sleeve on your knee, Matteo.
But you know what? Sometimes I realize this about myself, and I do that sometimes when I'm with friends at dinner or stuff like that. I go in a sort of trance, and then I wake up and I did something stupid. It's like, even with eating with friends, I keep drinking and eating like a fucking asshole. And then all of a sudden I'm like, the fuck did I do? Like, I'm full of food, too full. I should have stopped way earlier. I don't know what the fuck happens to me. And I'm like,
you're like a 5-year-old.
You know when they're shark, they turn their eyes turn black and they go in a frenzy. That's what I do. I don't know. And then all of a sudden I'm like, what the fuck? And everybody's dead.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, what the fuck did I do? The only difference is that I just do damage on myself.
Eric, wait a minute. This explains Mr. Freeze entirely.
Yeah, it was.
His eyes went black, he drew the book, and then he woke up. Like, what just happened?
I love how he described himself as a stupid shark.
I'm a stupid shark. Yeah. Because when I go in a frenzy, I just damage myself. Not other people are on me.
Holy crap. Listen, pal, before I get into the jokes, is the elbow going to impact your ability to draw at all?
No, not at all. Not at all. It just hurts when I do specific movements, but not at drawing. No. It actually,
but Eric, if it did,
I was talking to
you
a
draw
physician.
better.
Yeah. No, I was talking to a physician. Probably drawing is one of the activities that created the problem in the first place, because I've been dealing with this problem like forever. It's basically,
Is it like
yeah,
right
no, I want
here?
to bring this up. Okay, because I think this is a part of Matteo's past that people have don't know about, or maybe you've forgotten, Shawn. But I remember it because when he told me this story, I almost called him a liar, because it's in the same way that when I heard Dan Panosian say that he used to, fight in the MMA, like he used to fight.
Oh yeah.
He was an MMA fighter. When Dan said that out loud, I heard him tell it to Matteo. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, oh, this stupid freaking liar. But when Matteo told me this story, I was like, no, you're just pulling a Dan Panosian right now. Matteo used to be a baseball player, right?
Yeah.
And at one point, Matteo, correct me if I'm wrong, like you had aspirations to do it at the very least in the minor league level, right? So.
Oh yeah. I played actually like in the for a second. I played in the B league. So back then it was because now it all changed, but it was A league, then A2, and then B. So I played B for a year or two, and then I played C for another year. But I was a good player until I was like, I would say 18, 19, and then I lost passion for it. So I would just go and play, but didn't train a lot. So, but there's been a time in which I was a pretty good player.
Yeah. Okay. So my point was, I thought that maybe he had hurt his elbow during his baseball career, but you heard him right now. They gave him 1 second in the middle, in the most mediocre. He said like he played baseball for a second. He threw one pitch, and he's like, get him down to the C as quickly as possible, and then. It hurt his ego so much, that level, like realizing, oh my gosh, at 17, I am so mediocre. This is never going to be a career for me. He just put it on cruise control, and that's when he said, I got to leave and go do something that's easier, which is probably art,
Yeah.
So. But I thought that's how he hurt his elbow.
Because baseball, the most metal of sports.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And that, what do you call it? Basically, that framing,
life,
that framing basically encapsulates his entire career. He tries very, very hard at the beginning, hits like a Mr. Freeze plateau.
Yeah.
And everything is just fucking downhill from here.
Well, Shawn, why now I'm bold? It's for all the headbanging in the past.
You banged all your hair off.
Yeah, it just fell off his skull is what happened.
I went on a frenzy like a stupid shark.
Now that is metal.
Too much, and then it all went away.
Now, that's metal as fuck. That is really metal. I head banged my hair off my head.
Hey, Shawn, we're heading into old man. I was talking to Matteo offline and saying, like, we're just gonna end this entire episode. We're just gonna end up talking about old man injuries and how far along that is. But it does relate back. Let me try to bring it back to the point of this freaking podcast, which, by the way, there's been an uptick in viewership. Shawn, congratulations. I personally think it's because of those glasses. I really genuinely believe it's your fashion sense.
Or should I put this pair, or you want a different pair?
Let's see the different pair.
I've got more choices.
Oh, now it's better, definitely. Oh, yes.
Yeah. So I want the audience, but also Matteo, if you didn't see what he just did, it was a setup. That question, should I put on a different pair, is Shawn's very subtle way of going like, I have other pairs. Can I take this opportunity?
Well, I'm bringing it back.
This locomotive down to a crawl and put on these awful fashion choices that I make with my glass. Go ahead, Shawn. What are you trying to say?
I'm bringing it back to the theme of the podcast. We're talking about aging. And I now have several pairs of different types of glasses all over my studio for different purposes. Up until 5 years ago, I was fine. I had the eyes of a surgeon. But now...
A what? An eyes
of a surgeon.
Eyes of a surgeon. I love it when you make things up. Go ahead. Continue. Up until 5 years ago, you had made up things. Go ahead.
I had wonderful eyes. You can't imagine how good my eyes are, Eric. That's all. And now I need glasses.
And then
but I'm also using... I have... What's that?
I was going to say, what was the thing that cued you in? Was there something where you're like right in the middle of Guardians of the Galaxy, which you were drawing back in the day? You were holy crap, I am a lot worse than I thought I was.
No,
or
what happened is I'd feel my eyes like, it was weird. I could actually feel like I was controlling the muscle in my eyes to keep my pupils like at a locked position so I could see. Yeah. And after like 5 seconds of that, it would just burn. And that just started happening more and more frequently. And then I couldn't see the tip of my brush like perfectly. I could see it sort of.
Can I tell you the weird sort of dichotomy that's happening between you and Matteo right now, right? Like Matteo's career, or at least his artwork, you know? Like an amazing sort of like stock climb like this. And then he hit a particular plateau, right? Which was like Mr. Freeze, like
the one that we all know.
That moment. It just crashes straight down, right? Like the quality of artwork, you know? Yours, on the other hand, was like just crumbling like a building. You know what I mean? Just Sarajevo versions of destruction, you know? And then your vision went away, right? And it just started to climb like you know what I mean? Because you don't know what you're drawing anymore. So at this point,
so now it looks good.
Yeah, your brain is just like, this is genius. I got to keep drawing like this with my tired eyes. So it's a weird sort of like, you guys are in opposite. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. I think
amazing artwork. Now that your vision is practically gone. So so this is serious. This is a serious question. Is there anything that you guys are doing different? Like back in the day, I suspect just across the board. I'm not being general. I think all of us would just stay up all night drawing. Right? I mean, there was no consideration for health. Matteo is just headbanging his way into every amazing page of Hulk or Ulk or whatever he calls it. You know, like he just goes through it. No rest,
actually,
no whatever. Maybe
I gotta tell you,
go.
Like I did that only for a brief period. I would say the first 1 or 2 years of my career. But then I decided I didn't like the fact that I was going to bed really late and that I would wake up really late. So my old timing, you know, with the rest of the human beings wasn't working, you know. So I decided to have like normal standard working hours. And I decided pretty early, especially because back then when I started my career, I had a girlfriend that had a regular job. So if I would, you know, work at night, we couldn't see or, you know, each other or talk to each other that much. So I decided to do it for that reason. It's all about the love. But yeah.
What did you just say?
It's all about, it got real pornographic. Like
he said, the way he said it, it's all about the love.
Yeah. No, it went into a place where I think Matteo, as he was saying, it got an erection right below the camera. I saw the table go up like this. The table. You know, yeah. I saw the microphone kind of levitate because the table was being pushed up.
All of a sudden, his mic is going.
Yeah. How about you, Shawn? Were there changes that you had to do because you, again, the marathoning, the all-nighters, the lacking of self-care as far as physical is concerned? Was there something that switched and you're like, I can't keep doing this, dude?
Yeah. I mean, when I was teaching and drawing comics full time, it was. This is. All right, we can go to black and white now. I'm beating you guys to the punch, but
Jimmy, hit that button.
That's when I ended up in an MRI because they thought I had brain cancer.
No, is this true?
What?
Yeah.
What happened?
So what
Jamie,
happened?
Just cut this part out. This guy is awful. This isn't even a joke anymore. You know, it's the way he said it. Did you hear him, Matteo? I don't think you heard him. He goes, he laughed through the concept that they gave him an MRI because they thought he had brain cancer.
Oh,
and
okay.
The way he did it, he was laughing.
Part. I just heard the MRI, but I didn't get where, like in what part of the body. Okay, gotcha.
If this was a movie, right? If this was a movie, that laugh would have started turning into a cry. So I had to cut him off and be like, you know, right in the like at the beginning of the laugh was like that version of like just slobbering, crying. This is an awful episode. You got
Sean. Minutes.
Sean, go ahead, dude. You were dying. You said they saw something in your head.
No, they were looking. So I had.
They didn't find anything, by the way. It was completely empty.
It was empty. It's just an empty shell. It's a totally empty shell.
There's like old Jack Kirby comics and $15 worth of coins in there, dude.
There's just a little guy shooting heroin.
Like the opposite of MODOK is in my head.
All right, they were worried about you. Who was the thing? Well, what was the thing that made you go like, "Holy crap! I think I may have something wrong in my head"?
I woke up one morning and I was dizzy, like vertigo, and that lasted about a month, and like it just would never go away. I was just living like that, and that sucked. And I was trying all different things, and then the dizziness.
Give me a time frame, Shawn. You're 50 years old. Sorry, everybody who doesn't know, Shawn's 50, right?
This is a while
51
ago.
actually.
I was probably 30. Yes.
By the minute that we're on this very specific like episode, every minute that goes by is like a year of Shawn's life. I know it feels like 10 years of my life.
But I'm not the one wearing a compression sleeve on my knee from seeing Pantera. So I've got that going for me.
No, hold on. You heard him earlier. He doesn't care anymore. Like you asked him, "What are you doing for your treatment?" He's like, "I don't know, just fucking gritting my teeth and going through it," which made me laugh because it's so Matteo. I was like, "I don't care," you know.
Yeah, that's fine.
But go ahead. How old were you?
So
when was this happening?
The dizziness one morning turned into a very focused headache, like
wait,
here.
How old is this? What year was this? How many revolutions around the sun?
I was probably around 32 at the time.
Okay, be honest right now. I hate to keep cutting you off, but does that brain tumor? Is it hard to remember that far back? Is it hard for your brain to...
I mean, it was almost 40 years ago, so.
Yeah. I feel like it was a little while ago. 30 years, 32. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
I said no more jokes. No more old jokes. I keep doing it. It's stronger.
But here's the thing. We never believed you, so it's okay. Continue, Shawn.
So then it felt like it literally felt like someone was like shoving an ice pick into my skull. Mm-hmm. And I would sleep fine and it wouldn't be there while I was sleeping, but the minute I woke up it would be right there for the entire day until I went to sleep again, and nothing seemed to get rid of it. So went to the doctor and went to the ENT because I thought it was all sinus. No, it's fine. I was fine. There's a joke at the end of this. Hold
on, let me get the joke out. Let me get the joke out because I'm gonna fucking explode. Like that feeling that you had right before you're about to that you waking up, that was death. You know what I mean? Like you were dying, and every time you interrupted the great beyond, that's the feeling. You know that you're like, you cheated death one more time. So I guess in a way, congratulations, pal. You cheated death multiple times. All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm like a cat. I've got 9 lives.
Yeah.
Mind you, we have to remind the audience here. I am Jewish. I know you guys have already said that in this episode, but this has something to do with the story. That explains the Pantera concert right
there. All right. So I went to reminder noted. Shawn, continue. Shawn and Matteo's going to do some soul searching later. But
Jamie, just if you could put the word racist under Matteo, or not even that, just anti-Semite, I think is appropriate.
Yeah, that's more appropriate.
And anti-Napoli.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a sinus thing, being Jewish and all. I thought I was having like all these like sinus pains, and I went to the ENT and.
That's not unique to your people, you fucking jerk.
Yeah,
it's not unique to my people, but
it's your own race.
Look, come on. Jews are known for being very nasal oriented.
Holy shit, Shawn.
Sorry, we keep interrupting, but this is
It's just
this is
awful.
gold here.
No, okay. This is probably real. This story is really. It sounds like it's really personal. But at every opportunity between me and Matteo, we're just like, shove your fucking story. Okay, like, all right, go. Take it to the
These
edge,
are my
buddy.
friends, everybody. These are my two best friends. So the ENT, after talking to me, said she wanted to schedule allergy tests, and then she sat me down. She's like, I'm concerned that you may have a tumor in your brain.
Jamie, you know what to do.
And she and so she was like, we're going to need to schedule you for an MRI. And I was like, oh, okay. So I'm freaking out inside. And then it hits me, wait a minute, MRI means they're going to have to put like contrast in my veins. Now, I hadn't had a blood draw in my entire life to this point because I was terrified of it. So I was like freaking out. I was like, okay, I don't know how I'm going to do this because I'm terrified of a needle in my vein. And then she got shitty with me, like gave me an attitude. It was like, well, you don't have to do it if you don't want to. And I was like, I'm not saying no, I just need help. And so she prescribed me a Valium for that day. And so I left. Now,
Listen,
on the way to the MRI.
Hold on. Like anything, right? You expect comfort from somebody and they don't give it. Like right now,
Exactly
we're
what's
conceptually,
happening
quote
right
unquote,
now.
your friends. Right now is a perfect example. Like you want us to be comforting, but we're like, oh, you're old and you're going to die. So I'm sorry. Go ahead, Shawn.
Yeah, so this will be the last episode of the podcast.
Yeah, that's it. Shawn's jumping out the window.
So she gave me Valium. So the morning, like a week later, Steph was driving me to the MRI place, and I popped the Valium, and all of a sudden the headache gone, the dizziness gone, and I just made a note of that. I went through the MRI, everything was fine. Got the results, nothing, no tumor, no brain, nothing. It's
Nice.
just empty.
Yeah.
No, it was totally clean. And so then she was like, she just wanted to schedule me for 1 million tests. And I was like, I don't have brain cancer. I'm done with you. And I went to my general practitioner, a doctor who I really like and trust. And because she knew what was going on, she referred me to the ENT. And I said, look, I noticed when I took this Valium, everything was gone. And she was like, okay, you have anxiety. The most Jewish of all diseases. So once I knew that I had anxiety, everything kind of vanished. But I could feel it when it would act up. Like when I'd be at school, like opening my computer, everything would start spinning. I was like, okay, this is anxiety. So worked my way through that. So I had to make a lot of changes at that point.
Actually, getting addicted to Valium. That was the first change.
Is that a problem? That's not a problem.
No.
It's like
It's
a
not
vitamin.
a problem. It's not a problem until you say it out loud, dude. Then it's like, well, it's concerning at the very least, you know.
I didn't say it. You said it. So
No.
I'm
All
gonna
right. So
stick
as
to my
long as you don't
vitamins.
admit it, it's not a problem, Shawn.
It's not a problem. It
Don't
doesn't
tell me. Don't
exist.
tell me it's a problem.
Yeah. No, it doesn't.
No.
Just don't turn into a stupid shark. You'll be all right.
So yeah, I had to make a lot of changes. I quit teaching and I started keeping better hours.
Yeah. And did you travel the world? Did you pack up everything into a van, shirk your financial responsibilities, and not talk to your friends for a few years? Is that where you were the better part of your 30s?
No,
Yeah.
not
All right.
even close.
All right. So you were just an
That was
asshole. You
terrible.
just
That was
stopped
such
calling us, is what you did.
I mean, look, you've been hitting a lot of home runs today. That was terrible. That was not funny. It was just terrible.
Hey, Eric, how about you? Because you strike to me as a person who still works at night with weird times and stuff like that. Am I right?
No, 0%.
Okay.
I am asleep by 10 o'clock.
Yeah, guys.
Like I just shut you down. No.
No, 0%. Go jump out your own window. I don't do any of that shit anymore. No, there was. I mean, I'll speak from my personal experience. When I really wanted to break into the comic book industry, I remember it was the decline of all of my personal relationships because that's all I wanted to do was draw comics. Not only just not on the physical side, which is really, really bad. I think did you meet me at my heaviest, Maddie? Imagine.
I don't know if it was your heaviest. We've never talked about it. So.
Yeah. Imagine, what is the translation? Is it?
No, but I think I saw some pictures of you.
Yeah.
Really swollen. So no. I
like that description.
He just called you swollen.
Yeah. I love that description.
You were actually
swollen.
it looked like somebody put, a thing up your ass and start blowing in it.
Like
you
one
were
of those squeezy dolls where the eyes come out.
Yeah, absolutely. But it was
like all the words that you just said.
Swollen, bloated,
yeah.
Inflated, I think he was blowing air into my butt.
Inflated
by the butt.
Inflated. Yeah. We don't
rigorously
inflated by the butt.
Yeah.
Butt inflation.
That's my fucking album. Inflated by the butt. But yeah, no, it's you let stuff go that's supposedly important to you, especially your health, and you're not paying attention to everything. But man, you cross a threshold, and you go like, man, something. And this is the thing that people, when I'm talking to people who are trying to break into an industry, or is like, how do I get better at my craft? All of the personal care, seemingly nobody talks about, which is weird. Nobody ever says, hey, so you don't end up in an MRI, because you think you have fucking brain cancer. Hey, so you don't throw your elbow out like a fucking, stupid shark asshole. Go take care of yourself. People should really start paying attention to that early in their career. And I'll say this, just, I don't want to point a accusatory finger, but we've gone through our fair share of Artist Alley. And I always think about like, these guys should take better care of themselves. Totally. That's not judgmental. That's not me saying like, oh my gosh, you're a disgusting fat pig. That's not it at all. I just think like, whoa, they're spending an awful amount of time. And I could tell that like they are at the verge of getting sick because it's not a guess. I see it all the time when I'm on social media. Oh, I'm sick.
Yeah.
They're happy to volunteer that information. I am sick
con
and I
crud,
don't
everyone
have.
Gets con crud. Like, I hardly.
I am sick and I don't have insurance to cover. Like all of these things. Like, geez, Louise, take better care of yourselves as an artist. There has to be. You have to find that balance. Of taking better personal care of yourself, because this job, when you're drawing comics in specific or just art in general, but comics in specific, it will take as much out of you as it can afford. Yeah. And it won't ever say, hey, by the way, I'm going to accidentally make you sick,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm actively, not maliciously, but I am actively going to make you sick, just generally in a sedentary lifestyle when you're drawing pages. Oh boy, It takes a lot. Yep. Right, because you're seeing the growth of your craft. You're seeing the results and the rewards of that. Boy, I'm drawing so much better. I'm getting all sorts of work left and right. But then you go to Shawn's point. You go like, you wake up one morning and there's this headache that you can't explain. Yeah. Or you got like these disgusting bloated knees that Matteo has. He has no idea how to treat, so he's just given up on them. He's like, I've been trying my entire life to fix this thing. The best doctors in Italy have been. Yeah. The best doctors in Italy are trying to help me. It's probably the same doctors that turned into internet service providers that are now giving Matteo like the crappiest internet as far as streaming is concerned. Like the level of care across the board. But you'll wake up and you go like, damn, I can't explain, or there's no way to reverse engineer the level of discomfort that I put myself into. Do it early, kids. That's
Matteo,
the old man PSA.
Yo, thank you for that, Eric. But so are you done with concerts, or are you still gonna go?
No, I'm not done with concerts. I'll just avoid being stupid next time. But
but you can't avoid being stupid because you go into stupid shark mode.
I gotta find a way not to get into stupid shark mode. That's the goal. That's the thing, So
I don't think that's gonna happen. I think you're going to get into that situation all over again. You've done it historically, right? It's not that I don't believe in you, but I genuinely don't believe in you. You've put yourself in that situation over and over again, and nothing has changed. So I don't know what's going to happen between now and then that's going to make you go like, I can't go to stupid shark morgue today. You know, I'm just going to ruin my knees.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. We'll see.
We've stretched that old man conversation for as long as we have. I think Shawn should talk about something because this is his show. What are we talking about, Shawn?
You just want to have another reason to tell Jamie to go to black and white, I think.
No. See, I unlike Matteo, right, who I don't believe in any of his changes that he wants to implement in his life, right? I've actually seen you do something and get better at whatever. So I believe in you. Matteo is on the other side of this hill. You, on the other hand, are on the uptick. So go ahead, pal.
I was going to say, Matteo, seriously, though, I do want you to ice down your knee. But if that'll help so much. Ice has become a big part of my life, being that
ISIS
I'm old now.
became a great part of your life?
Now, keep in mind, Matty, he signed the application 3 years ago, and he was in that limbo of whether or not they're going to bring him into the club. But finally, he got approved. He just got the notification letter yesterday.
Oh,
he's leaving tomorrow, so we'll see him never.
Oh, by the way, one quick thing. Since
Yes.
I noticed the disappointment in Eric when he realized that with the new way we record, is not able to shut us down whenever he wants.
Yeah.
I decided to create this new thing. So whenever
no.
you want to shut me down, Eric, you just tell me, and I'll do like this.
A voluntary shutdown.
Yeah, voluntary shutdown like this.
What is that?
He just put
We'll
something
have,
in front of the camera.
Next time it will be a black thing, entirely black, so it looks like it's really shut down.
I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it.
So our little Pol Pot here can be happy again.
It's difficult for me to not have complete control of you guys, especially when you're acting like stupid sharks.
Yes.
It's really annoying. The best that I can do is shut down your mics, but that it won't let me do anything else. I think what I should do is reach out to our streaming platform provider and say, hey, I am desperate for you guys to put this functionality into this app because my
like
friends are morons.
I must have control.
I must have control. I must be able to chop off their heads as much as I see fit. But thank you very much for volunteering that, Matteo. I know you will never do it. You will never hey, I need you to put that screen up.
No,
Well,
he's
just
going to
the
have
fact-
something drawn on that piece of paper.
Or
There's
just the
something
fact
down there.
of seeing you trying to shut me down. That'd be fun. It's like we can choose a word.
Wait, why did you just say funny that way? Why did you
I
just
couldn't tell if that was him.
I didn't know
Fun.
if I had to say fun or funny.
Oh, okay.
Was funny the right one? Or fun?
Yeah,
Funny is the right one.
Yeah,
Okay.
totally.
Let's
So-
I thought we needed to put you into an MRI, because I thought your brain was just like, whoa.
He was having a live stroke.
Yeah,
Most
let's-
viral podcast ever. Matteo has a stroke on camera.
So we can find a word like we can decide it together, like octopus or something. And whenever you say it, I know that I have to give myself.
This
a
is a
timeout,
really
Why
of
octopus?
the many shitty ideas that you have had. That's
Or
got to be
shark.
top 5.
Stupid
top 10.
shark. Stupid shark.
Stupid shark.
No,
Stupid shark.
no, that's going to be part of vernacular, and you're not going to know whether or not that's just me making fun of you or me actually cueing the board. I'm not going to say that's actually a funny term, stupid shark, and I'm not going to use that to shut you down.
Stupid shark.
My point
is-
stupid shark. Na.
I gotta mute.
Wait,
him like this.
wait. Jamie, isolate that. Do that again, Matteo. Isolate
No,
that,
look,
Jamie.
I can mute
No,
him.
shh. Let Matteo go ahead. Do it again.
No.
Sing the
I'm
song.
telling you that I mute him from my end. He can't do. He can't. I can't shut down the camera, but I can mute him. Now I can bring him back like the gatekeeper that I am.
All right, we need that audio. Matteo, just give it to us. You think he's right, because it's separate audio tracks. Okay.
Yeah.
Jamie, isolate that. There's some gold there. I know it. But let's take a minute here. Let's applaud Jamie, because since we got Jamie on board,
Jamie.
Absolutely, man.
Jamie is killing it.
Yeah.
But for people who don't know, we're referring to somebody off screen right now that's doing all the magical things that are happening for this podcast. Jamie, we brought in, but you guys have better context on this. I was actually resistant to the idea because I thought it was going to be a whole lot more complex. I have seen the error of my ways, and the value that this incredibly talented person brings to this quote unquote podcast is immeasurable. So you guys talk about it. Talk about that very briefly.
Well, yeah.
Okay,
you start.
Let me start, Matteo, because I'll catch up to you. I was
fucking guys, get your shit together.
Jamie, just black out Eric and mute him for the next 5 minutes. See, we can have control if we give notes to Jamie. But I got a DM on Twitter one day from this guy who's like, "Hey, I'm a podcast editor and I'm a huge fan of what you're doing. If you need any help, editing or stuff, I'd love to get involved."
Wait. Why did Matteo's video just cut out right now?
I don't know.
Did I?
Oh, all right.
It's his Wi-Fi. That's what it is. So I said, "Look, man, I'm definitely going to want to use you. I just need to get to a point where I can afford to do so." And then we started doing this, and Matteo started saying, "Hey, we need an editor for A, B, and C." And so I went back to Twitter and I DM'd Jamie, and his Twitter account was completely inactive for months. So I reached out to other people, tried a few things, and then finally Jamie just logged into that account, because he apparently has a few, and found it, and then we linked up. And Matteo had some really good ideas on what we need an editor for. So Matteo, it's your turn.
Oh yeah. Basically, because I constantly watch and listen to podcasts while I'm working. That's the thing that I do, basically. I don't listen to music, and I love podcasts, and especially the comedy ones. 99% of what I follow is still comedians' podcasts, and so I follow them on Twitter, Instagram, whatever, and I see the way they do things. So I don't know, my thing has always been in everything I do is I'm gonna look at what is cool to me, and I'm gonna try and do the same thing, like in comic books.
Right.
I never ask myself what's my style, what should I do or not. And it's the same reason we talked briefly about it months ago in one of the first episodes where was in on this podcast. It's I never really ask myself too many questions. I just, whenever I see something that's cool and I think it can apply to what I do, I'm gonna try and use it to see if my stuff will look better. So the same thing applies to the podcast. So since I'm doing a podcast, I'm not expecting to have to become like the new Joe Rogan experience. Who knows, maybe. But whatever happens to this podcast, I want to do it. I want to do it cool. I want it to look cool, like the other podcasts that I see. Like, the principle behind it is that I want to do something that if I was the audience, I would like. The same thing with the books that I do. Like, I always think, if I was the reader of this book, would I like it or not? So, So basically that was the principle behind it. Because I remember you, Eric, being a little, you were not convinced at first about this move, because you thought that somehow it could change the nature of the whole podcast, which is not, basically. It's just, do you think it is?
If anything, I think it's made it more fun. I mean, because now we have these jokes and we're cueing Jamie to add stuff. I don't know. It's just my opinion. What about you, Eric?
I mean, I I volunteered it earlier, but I want to follow up on something that Matteo said, which is it wasn't that it was going to change. Number one, that wasn't it. It was primarily because, and we had a conversation about it offline. We got on a call and talked about it. I said, let's not knee jerk into something just because we think, we're just mindlessly doing it because we've seen it elsewhere, right? Let's actually have a conversation about it. Why is it important? Why, let's not go into these automatic spaces that doesn't require us to go into automatic spaces to really have a legitimate conversation of why those moves need to be. And afterward, I was like, makes total sense to me. Let's go. But it was my uncomfortability with it was that, which is just like, let's not do it for the sake of doing it. But also, and I'll say this very selfishly, I just get on this show because I want to hang out and talk to you guys. It's my weekly excuse to be able to catch up, talk shit, even though we can't talk as much shit because the internet being what it is, we'd get in so much trouble if we spoke more candidly than we typically did. And then also, in a way, it allows us to just, like Shawn, you never knew that, Matteo was a smoking pile of failure in his baseball career, right? But it's a good way to be like, oh, we've never talked about that. Let's talk about that for a brief second,
Right.
So it's all of these things, and we roll our careers into it. Whenever we stop talking about all the stupid things that we talk about, we have an opportunity to sort of like give advice to a lot of the people who are on the outside looking in. What based on these guys' experience, what can I learn from them? Which is, for me, again, speaking selfishly, when I was younger, I looked to the elder statesmen in my industry to be like, what are they doing great that I would have never thought about? I'm sitting here trying to learn how to draw like cross-hatching, but these guys are talking about, their health and their career and potentially all the landmines that I end up stepping in, So for me, I wanted to continue that. And if there's any interruption because of that, that's where my sort of, hey, let's be careful not to do that, because that would be less fun for me. But to your guys' point, it's been more fun because there's now this addition of, again, Jamie staying out of the way in the best way possible because he's a professional and saying like, how do we plus up this podcast? Which I think the biggest value, just based on his experience, is that he's done this a bunch of times and he knows how to optimize for what's out there right now so that people are going to be paying more attention. And it, this is not bragging, but just based on, the numbers on the last podcast, the last episode, I'm like, holy crap, what an amazing thing,
the first episode that came out that Jamie had edited, and now that we have social media clips to advertise with, in the first 24 hours, it had done more than double what the other podcasts, any other podcasts had already done. And now it's currently one of the highest viewed podcasts, and it's only been out for 3 days. So it seems to be doing amazing.
To be fair, it's not like the highest viewed podcast ever. It's the highest viewed podcast of the Inkpulp show, right? Which is to say,
yeah, normally it's 10 people, and this time it's like 25.
Yeah.
Double up Sclera does it again.
Double it out.
All due respect to you guys, that's awesome. Yeah. Don't take credit away from him. You know what I mean? That's good money that he's paying for that half a person. That's spending half of their time paying attention to the show. All right, listen, to give people a little bit more context, we are trying to bring in a whole lot of our friends to come and chit chat with us. And on occasion, we overreach and we bring in somebody who we have a high level of respect for. Today we were trying to talk to the exalted Miss Sandra Hope. Sandra? But we couldn't make it work out schedule-wise, but we are excited to be able to speak to somebody who has that much sort of like experience in their back pocket.
Hell yeah.
I had a ton of questions loaded in a clip to be like, I remember, I'll give a really sort of amazing story. When I first started at Wildstorm, it was already very intimidating being in that space because of the history of all the books that they printed, not the least of which is like, it's Jim Lee's studio. But I remember one of my first days there, she was very kind and accommodating to me, just was very warm, treated me as if I'd been there since the very beginning. And I can't thank her enough for that. I wish I could. I'll tell her that again the next, if and when she comes on. So that was going to be our guest, but Sandra has always been so very kind. So I can't wait to bring her on and ask her all the stupid questions that a fanboy like me likes to be able to ask.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Next episode,
to talk
the guest is gonna be Jim Lee, then Todd McFarlane.
Yeah. Well, you want to talk about overreach. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Then Obama. I think, right.
We're gonna bring the president on. We're gonna bring the president on. As a matter of fact, it was because of our experience in Lake Como. We're gonna have Mobius on. We're gonna bring the spirits of people.
Oh, my good friend Liberatori in Manara. They're gonna come.
Yeah. They're just gonna struggle through this podcast.
Yep.
As Matteo translates for them and tries to make do with the jokes that probably won't land very well with the Italians.
Actually, before this ends, I did want to talk about one thing, and I had something I wanted to propose to you guys.
Yeah.
So Eric, you stopped doing New York Comic Con. How long ago was that? It's been what, 5 years since you did it?
Your guys' memory is better than mine. I'm old.
I think it's been about 5-6 years.
When was that? Was that? I can't recall, man. It was a while.
The last time was when me, you, and Natalie had a room, right?
That's right.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. So, and tell the audience what made you stop doing the show.
Well, Shawn stole all my money, first of all. And by the way, it's just.
But I can do that at any show.
Yeah. But this one in specific, he stole all of it, including my bank account. You know, I honestly just.
What? I just coughed.
That was the most racist cough ever. Anyway.
It's allowed because
Holy crap,
it was the most racist towards this kind. Now I can't.
As long as it's the most racist towards his kind, let's continue to get ourselves into trouble. All right, so listen.
I think you can do better, Matteo. I think you
just
don't
racism
do
in
better.
By the way, what did I do? I just coughed.
Yeah, that's how you did. He went into stupid shark mode.
Yeah. See, that's why I don't believe in you. I don't remember why I didn't do it. What was the story? What was the lie that I told you, Shawn? I have many reasons for not wanting to. Yeah, I have many reasons why I stopped.
You did a cost analysis on it, and it wasn't
that's one
worth
of them.
it. Like
later on, I actually had aspirations to go back. I had to pay attention to like, okay, this is how much the convention is costing me to be there, right? And oftentimes, walking away from the convention, this is what I'm getting out of it. And that's interesting to bring up because I want to hear your guys' perspective because we were having it back and forth on our messaging app saying like this is how it doesn't make sense to me to go to that show. You know, this is what I'm spending, right? Not just on the hotel, not just on the potentially the table, not just on the flight over there, but food, all of it all together. I come home, I take a look at what that thing costs, and then I'd see the opportunity that I got there. Does it balance out, or do I still oftentimes end up in the red? And my attitude was like, how can I then turn that same exact opportunity, right, or get those same exact opportunity, take a look at what that bottom line is as far as cost is concerned, and is there any way that I can replicate that without having to be in the red all the time? That's where my super analytic brain goes.
And did you find a way to replicate that?
Yeah, just be fucking awesome, Shawn. You know, like not have to worry not be at the behest of a convention, you know? No, I don't know. Did I find it? I think I'm at peace of not having to go to that show in specific, go do smaller shows instead.
Yes.
Right? And then say, okay, if what I'm getting out of this show primarily is just like sales of my books, being able to shake people's hands and go into that sort of more homegrown space of getting one customer, one reader, one person to engage with me, one person at a time. It's a lot more work, but long term is a lot more positive impact for the kind of stuff that I'm doing. New York is such a zoo, and that, by the way, that's not a criticism. It's just you guys have been there. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's
how
crazy.
How taxing it is the audience that ends up going there, and so I'm like, I don't really have an opportunity to engage as well as I should, at least in my opinion, as well as I should. Maddie, you travel from across the ocean to go to New York Comic Con. What's your insight?
You know,
what's your perspective?
For me, it's always New York. There's a tradition there. I've been doing it for like 13 years now. Like I just love being there. I gotta check because for me now, especially now doing shows, it's mostly an excuse to see all my friends. And usually at big shows like New York or whatever, like Seattle, that's where I get the chance to see most of my friends. So, and to be honest with you, like it's still a really good show in terms of money for me. Also, I gotta say that since I'm the guy who always travels, so the flights are never cheap from Italy to the States.
Right.
Normally, like when, for example, Mike Nagan is responsible for Artist Alley, meaning Britpop, meaning, New York, Seattle, I don't pay for my table. I don't think I've ever paid for a table.
Respect to Mike, who treats us well anytime that we put in that bat signal and say, hey, Mike, can you hook us up? So thank you to him.
Yeah, absolutely. And the hotel usually can get expensive. Normally, a flight to New York is not that expensive. There's way more expensive flights to the States. Normally, to New York, if you buy it in advance, there's a direct flight from Milan to New York. And sometimes I even paid like $400 for the flight, which is not a lot. Nice flight. So
yeah, it's inexpensive in relative, right?
What?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
I said it's inexpensive, relatively inexpensive based on other flights that you've taken before. But also, let me add this added layer for Matteo's sake. And I know his ego is out of control, but I don't think he's willing to talk about this on a level. So Matteo right now is riding he's at a real, even though Mr. Freeze is in the mix, right? Like he is at the really, really great point in his career where I feel like bringing back the baseball, he is batting 1,000 right now for all of his projects. It's been so incredible to see you come up from where you were like when you and I first met, right? You've mentioned it in this podcast before, but for those who didn't tune in to those episodes, you were in a space where you were doing primarily just like smaller books. And so now the career trajectory, I don't know, and I hope this is a good thing. I don't know where else you can go career-wise, but I suspect if that undiscovered country, you're well on your way there, right? And so it doesn't hurt to be in that professional space and also to be able to travel because, like you said, all of the things that come along with that, not the least of which the business of being at a comic book show is sort of wrapped around where you are right now in a career. I'll speak for myself. I'm not I'm not in that space. I don't know if I ever was, to be perfectly honest, but visibility on my work is nowhere near as high as it has ever been historically as you are right now. So that really impacts the kind of business that you do at these kinds of shows.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
So that's super helpful context for people listening.
Yeah. But also, I gotta tell you, like back then, doing shows in the States was considered to be business. For me now, even though I make good money at a show, usually I just go there to see friends, really. That's the goal. I know I'm repeating myself, but that's the thing. Like if tomorrow they invited me to a show wherever, like in Phoenix or in Detroit, whatever, and they're willing to pay for my flight, for my table, for my hotel expenses, even if they give me a per diem or something, like if none of my friends is there, I'm not gonna do the show. It's not worth for me.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not spending money to be there. So
what about you, Shawn?
Well, I mean, for me, a lot of the reasons, a big part of why I do shows is, like Matteo says, to see my friends. I mean, I would be perfectly happy sitting here, and I'm pretty confident that if, like, say there's a show like New York Comic Con that's 4 days long, I'm pretty sure that I could open up commissions at home and do better financially that way, especially at New York Comic Con. And that's kind of why I'm bringing it up. New York Comic Con's just gotten to be, the hotels have gotten to be unbearable. The cost of the table for me is keeps going up, and it's just, it's a bear. But this year Matteo's bringing his family, so we can't share a hotel room. So it's just this year's a harder one, but it's got me thinking about it. And I was going to suggest, what do you guys think about doing next year? Not Heroes, but in 2024, doing Baltimore, which is a smaller show, but it's very similar to Heroes. And well, Eric, would you be open to doing that? Because I mean, I was just in Baltimore this past weekend, and that's where I'm from. So I've never done that show.
Let me add. I think that's a good idea, but let me add to something that I said. I'm not saying that if it doesn't make much business sense to me, I won't go. But it was one of the ones that I'm like, especially it's not. We don't mean to pick on. I don't mean to pick on New York, but we're using it as an example. In the entire convention season, right? Which is like, when does it start now? April, March, earlier in the year.
I don't
think
it ends. I mean, they start in February, I think.
Okay, but the point is, if there's an if my whole thing is to go and hang out with you guys, there's a better show for me to do it than New York, because all of those things start to factor into my decision making, which is like, oh, if I go there, I feel like there's a component in which this thing should not be 100% in the red, but I also want to be able to hang out with my friends. I'll coordinate things like what you're suggesting right now. Hey, let's go to a not New York, and be like, yeah, let's go have fun over there. Because I remember it was worth it for me. Was it that was this year? I mean, you guys were all in Seattle together, right?
Yeah.
And I thought, like, okay, so between you, Ramon, Tommy, Matteo was going to be there. And I said, like, Seattle's an hour and a half, 2 hour flight for me from where I am in Oregon. So I just flew up and hung out with you guys for a day, and didn't have to worry about like, oh, am I going to have to table? Am I going to have to whatever? And as a matter of fact, when you guys were packing up to go to the show that first day, I was looking at you guys at a midst of like putting things together, and obviously going through your checklist of, what do we need to make sure we're there with. I had zero and like zero jealousy of that. And I was like, oh, look at these guys. They're about to go do a show. I'm about to get back on a plane and come back home. But mission accomplished. I had an opportunity to hang out. So if for nothing else, I think I'm mirroring what you guys are saying, which is, if I go to a show, I've got to have a good reason to be there. Oftentimes, that's the number one on the list, being able to hang out with you guys.
Yep.
Yeah,
I agree.
All right. So let's go figure out what we're going to do. We could do that offline. Potentially Heroes, potentially Baltimore, wherever it is. I think I remember last time Matteo was talking.
We accept suggestions from the audience. Some nice shows to suggest.
Yeah.
We have to. One year we have to get to Thought Bubble, because that's the only way we'll probably meet Jamie. But I've never been, and Jamie said he would come to that show to meet us if we did that show.
Oh, that's awesome. It's a really nice show. It's a smaller show. The structure is different. Yeah. There are 2 pavilions. It's a smaller show, but they usually have a lot of international guests and stuff, and it's a really cool show. Yeah,
I've never been to
do it.
Don't you think that's also a thing? Like, if we've never been to a show before, it's nice to be able to go hang out and be like, oh, that's cool. Yes. Let's go do that. I mean, I felt like that was the attitude when we went to Como. Like, I've never been to that show before. I've never been to that side of Italy before. Let's go hang out there.
Let's go next year. That'd be really fun.
All right. I'm going to end this episode now. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Peace.
This is the Inkpulp podcast. This is the Inkpulp podcast. Comics, hip hop, life.